Good afternoon. Welcome to Sunday Live again. We've got our special guest today, Soriah, who is joining us live from his home in the lovely Portland, Oregon.
Here, let's see if we can show it to you.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm really loving quarantine. It's completely set me on fire creatively,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, just from the beginning, I've uh, I've, things like this really engage somebody like me. So if the world is going through some kind of glitch, that's when I really get going. So yeah.
You know, it's an
Uh,
either or, I find, with artists. Some artists are like, feel kind of stifled by the lack of contact with people. And
mhm.
so, they feel a little bit more isolated and then less inspired. But a lot of people, as yourself and a lot of others I've been speaking, have been just ramping it up.
Yeah, yeah. I've got nothing better to do than to, work on my craft, see what I can do with this time, make the best of it, you know.
Speaking of your craft, I should introduce you to people that might not know that you really have a unique talent. And I was blessed one time, but when the first time I met you, you came up to me and you started doing some Tuvan singing kind of close to my ear. And I thought I
Yeah.
was listening to an album, and I said, "Wait, am I really hearing that coming out of your mouth?" And
Yeah.
I was so blown away that I don't think we've ever stopped like talking about you amongst my circle of friends.
Well, thanks.
And
Yeah.
then
Amazing.
lucky enough to then witness you. I remember I said, "Hey man, the next time we come to Portland, it'd be nice for you to come and jam." And then that was the first time I ever witnessed your Bhutto shamanic ritualist sort of neo-tribalism that I hadn't
Mm.
expected. And I was, again, completely blown away. So maybe you can explain about how this all came together.
Well, I've had a pretty interesting road, and I just kind of pick up things along the way. Um, Throat singing was something that initially I didn't think I could ever do. But I'd been singing my whole life. I was a vocal performance major in college, but never really found my niche until I heard somebody made me a mixtape with this group Kunhurtu on it, this great Tuvan group. And shortly after, they came to Portland. This is about 98. This is shortly after the collapse of the Soviet Union, where all these really sequestered cultures, microcultures from Siberia, were able to finally flourish on the world. And so, yeah. So they came to Portland, and I bootlegged the performance, took it home, and started studying it to see if I could do it. And just listening to the recordings and mimicking the sounds, I was able to kind of get a grasp on essentially the basic ideas. So then I started performing as Soriah. That had been like kind of in my pocket, like this this thing I've been holding on, this kind of like pure expression, which throat singing is just kind of a part of. I've been doing a lot of chemionosis and stuff, working with psychedelics and things, and kind of incorporating that into meditation and art and whatnot. And so this was just like the kind of culmination of the pure form of like my DNA um, uh, frequencies, kind of like just buzzing through my body. And so that's what really engaged me as a throat singer, because when you're throat singing, you're working with kind of this working in between being a frequency and being an object, being a wave and being a piece of matter. It's kind of like this interesting exchange between the two states of being. Anyway, so I found it a uh, really, I don't know, it was very, very validating for a lot of the things I was kind of like exploring in my own psychosis at the time. Anyway, it just seems to really work on this plane of existence so really well. And so, I started studying with the Tuvans a few years after that. Then I decided to uh, uh, basically um, envelop myself into that 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 kind of lens of throat singing, and I've done pretty well with them. And I have an insanely amazing appreciation for the culture and the people and the land and everything that it comes from. And this they live in this animist culture where they worship, like, spirits in the trees and the rivers and the animals and everything. It's just really amazing, very a visceral connection with everything around, with your environment. And that's kind of, I learned some other aspects about throat singing through that experience, going to these places of where some of these throat singing styles actually were developed, or where the Tuvans would say they were taught by the spirits. And so each of these different, there's, so when studying with the Tuvans, I got to learn how to um, how to distinguish one sound from another, how to kind of extract that and work on that, and really try to master that aspect. And then all these things, because at that time I didn't know the difference, and I was doing everything all at once, and it just, you just very quickly hit a creative ceiling when you're just doing everything all at once. So what the Tubans really taught me was how to kind of separate each different place and make a nice narrative out of this different sounds, out of these different instruments, if you will, of like how you format your body in order to make these different instruments that makes different sounds, different frequencies. Anyway, so
right?
yeah.
Singing, I can imagine.
Yeah. It's an incredible experience. And ultimately the lesson is like, just listen to your own environment, and just kind of, it's in a sense, it's a way of disappearing into it's like enveloping yourself into where you're at, becoming passive, but at the same time, like projecting. It's projecting, it's a reflection.
Right.
It's like a mirror, like very much like a mirror. A mirror reflects, and it actually projects as well at the same time.
It's nice to know
Anyway.
that as a outsider, you have kind of achieved a status of sort of the highest recognized outsider outside of the state of Tuvan, right? It's
Yeah.
made
It's
a
an
special achievement.
insane, honor. It's an insane honor, and I don't take it lightly. Um, yeah. I don't. I have the highest reverence for the craft and where it comes from, and that they've seen fit to count me amongst one of themselves. It's really amazing, really amazing.
High
It's
achievement.
I'm totally honored and humbled by the whole experience, really.
I actually
So
love how
yeah.
most of
What's
my
that?
guests I love how most of my guests on here are uber humble, and it's hard to give. I have to give you your props where they're due. I mean, you've gone through the gamut of having to be kind of like placed in front of millions of Americans on America's Got Talent, and had to
Oh,
go
yeah.
through the whole
Yeah. It's
sort of
kind of it was like the whole America's Got Talent thing was kind of like yeah, it's like a gladiator. It's like the modern gladiator. It's like the thrown out to the lions, and
you know
the cards are stacked up against you if you're doing anything kind of creative or unique. You know,
and then to hear
yeah.
anything.
That was an interesting experience. Yeah. That the reason I was under no illusions that I was going to win $1 million and get a show in Las Vegas. I mean, that wasn't what I was going for. All I wanted, and when somebody told me that I could do this, the first thing that came to my head was just like some trailer out on a route in Arkansas in the middle of nowhere. Some guy just like on his couch, just flipping through the channels. And just for a split second, he would hear, oh, just that. And then he'd change the channel. That's all I wanted. After that, I won. All of that. After that, it was gravy.
Right.
And yeah, it's so that happened apparently 18 million times. So
and you know, it was like one of those things in life you remember, and then you move on with that experience, an even stronger
oh
shared
yeah,
experience.
it was terrifying. It was terrifying. And you
So,
know, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everybody. You know, you
no,
kind
I
of have
wouldn't
to
want to
have
go
thick
through
skin
that
to do it,
Pierce, what's
you
his name,
know.
Pierce Morgan guy's
Oh,
criticism.
yeah, yeah, just really
Man, I'm
awful
sorry, that
people they
guy's
had on there.
that guy's a
People who have
wad.
no business critiquing anybody on
Um,
anything really. But that's what it's about, you know. It's about, you know. Yeah, so the air guitars won that year.
yeah, that goes
So
to show you right there, doesn't it?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So, but you
Oh
know,
well. Oh
before
well,
all
so
this,
goes.
you know, before you got into singing and getting the inspiration from Tuvan, what was the inspiration that brought you to there? I was reading about your Karana style of raga. What is that?
Oh, well, for even longer, I've been interested in raga singing. You know, before I moved to Portland, I was in the Bay Area, and there was a whole lot, this huge scene going on of just like, you know, everybody was exploring the world, where we was exploring interesting world music, and of course, kirtan and like all these amazing styles of singing, like Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, and like all these people were breaking in on the scene in the kind of like I don't know, I guess maybe peripheral scenes of the rave scene in San Francisco. People really started to kind of jiving with all these different things, and they were finding common elements in these different types of music. And uh, so that was a huge influence on me. I started getting into like Egyptian music. I started playing the doumbek and stuff, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. But I really I was lucky when I moved here that there was a teacher who had studied with this amazing guru. His name was Pandit Pranat, and he was the master of this Kirana style raga, the northern Indian style raga. So with a lot of people, there's like a lot of Hindus sing it, but also a lot of Muslims singing. It's something that they have in common. It's like it's not it's something that actually the two have in common, which was pretty amazing. So anyway, this amazing master, this yogi came from this Guruji came to the United States with Terry Riley. Some of you you
Sure.
and other audience members might know who that is. So he was really a force of, you know, bringing classical Indian music to the West, and
Interesting.
so along with like, you know, George Harrison and Ravi
Right.
Shankar, all these guys. Anyway, so I was lucky enough to find one of the main students of the Guruji Pandit Pranat and also Terry Riley here in Portland. And so, yeah, I studied with him, and I've been just studying on and off, applying that kind of singing to whatever I do as well. You know, it's right there along with Tuvan throat singing for me. You know, as far as like how singing unfolds, and it's really wonderful way of singing. It's I kind of called it yoga for the voice. It's very much, it's like this, you you like, just like yoga, you have the most simplest poses, but you have to have the perfect form, and you just stay there, and just staying there, maintaining this spot, this place, this note, this frequency can be the hardest thing that you ever did, and as a vocalist, just staying there, you know. And then, you know, you start to, you know, once you get, you know, this is the drone, you stick with one note, the drone starts to reveal the entire universe in this one note. All these things kind of branch out, or kind of grow out of this one note, out of the om. And so, you know, a lot of wonderful philosophy out of raga definitely influences my, you know, the way I sing, you know, the how things unfold, how things are projected, how things are kind of brought back. It's very expressive. It's like smoke, You know, I really admire really fantastic Indian musicians of
Yeah.
any instrument. That's just, I will headbang harder at a classical Indian concert than any metal band. Seriously, I will be the one that's just like rocking out in the audience.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. It's
legendary,
it touches me.
legendary performance of Ravi Shankar at the Monterey Jazz Festival in like I think it was '68 or something like that, where he's with the
Uh-huh.
master tabla player. I can't remember his name at this minute, it's slipping me. But man, that was probably the big breakthrough for I guess like Indian cultural music to
Absolutely.
compose. And so it's just a matter of how it's spread from there. But I mean, what I like about what you do, Soriah, is you also mix like different inspirations that have come sort of cross culturally. Is that something that stems from like the Mexicana and the indigenous themes that you carry? Is that something that you also have studied along the way?
Absolutely. Yeah. Around the 2000s, well, I mean, I'm Mexican. That's my heritage, and so that's like my blood connection with um, that type of expression of divinity. Very tied in, very pagan, very tied in with, you know, the elements and air, water, mountains, fire, wind, all the stuff. And so I've always, and you know, my father was born in Mexico City, so you know, throughout my life I've gone there, and it's always been this kind of imagery, the artistic aesthetic imagery has always kind of like permeated my consciousness. And so I've always been really intrigued with that. And when I was doing a lot of study with again the kind of chemionastic stuff, of I would receive these kind of these visions or images or messages of frequencies, and then I would explore them. And so yeah, I ended up going with a friend of mine and studying with the Huichol, the peyote shaman in the very tippy top of what the state of Guadalajara, right next to Zacatecas, in this very old community of Huichol shaman. They call it Nueva Colonia, which is funny because they've been there since, you know, the 18th century. You know, the new colony, Nueva Colonia, the new colony. That's where they were. But before then, they were in the state of Zacatecas. But the Spanish found silver there, so they displaced them, moved them to another place. But anyway, so none of the peyote grows where they live now, and so they have to go to Zacatecas. They have this one time a year they go and they do this pilgrimage to find the peyote. Anyway, very cool, wonderful people, and really amazing visions with the peyote ceremonies there. Yeah, so that also informed me a lot. That informed me a lot about, you know, the pre-Columbian Mexica, Huichol kind of universe. And yeah, that also informs me, you know. I've like I said, my path has been pretty interesting. I've been able to study like with some really wonderful Buto masters, um, uh, and you know, over the years, and that also was this wonderful cathartic expression. This kind of trance where you go so deep into your consciousness. You're not moving. You're not forcing your body to move. The body moving is like is the result of your consciousness at the moment. So it's not form. It's not form. It's not like being
Oh
weird,
no,
crazy, dark. You
uh,
know, you have to be.
very organic.
You have to be there. Like, yeah, it's very. You could tell. It's very.
I'm inspired by the textures that you are always like. I mean, quite often you'll see somebody perform once, and they'll look one way, and then you'll see it again, and be like, okay, it's that thing. But every time I see you, it's always this textural, visceral, thing, and then you also have become sort of specialist on several instruments that most people have never seen before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have
Where did those
with me.
you
Yeah.
have a bowed one, a plucked one?
Yeah. Here, I'll introduce you. This is my family. This is my igil, made by a really incredible Tuvan, who is now the Minister of Culture of Tuva. Yeah, it's a bowed, two-stringed bowed instrument, really amazing. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a throat singer's companion. The accompanying instrument of a lot of throat singers. Really wonderful.
Dre's right in the comments here. He says you can only imagine. You have to witness one of your performances to really believe how beautiful it can be. I mean, man, I gotta say, you really got something special that touches a part. It's almost like spirituality that's been expressed into a living musical form, and especially the way you're emitting vocally as well, like an instrument. It's hard to put words to it. People need to.
Yeah. Well, how about if I give a little demonstration?
People, get ready.
Okay. I'm going to just apply a number of different styles with this. But for those who know Tuvan throat singing, I'll be doing Kagra, Hume, and Sugut.
Cat's coming to check it out. What's it? He's like, where is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that was you didn't even turn on any effects there. That's just straight out of your mouth.
No effects on that one. Yeah.
We did a sound check yesterday where he's actually put a bit of reverb on it, and it just like you want to do a jam with a bit of effects you did yesterday, or was that something you have planned for?
Yeah, actually, let me put this on. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay.
Man. Wow, man. I mean, the modulation factors that you get going there are just stunning. I mean, I don't know a synthesizer that sounds that good. No, really.
Well,
Some of
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff is like, I don't know what you're doing, but man, it's like literally like creating like pictures. I got
Yeah.
goosebumps. I don't know if anybody else out there gets goosebumps from this, but
Mm-hmm.
blows me away.
Well, funny enough, it's like what came first. When you're talking about me, I was raised, obviously listen to your stuff and, finding myself in these places of where there's like envelopes and modulations and all this stuff. And then I find myself doing a craft which kind of does that. You have to wonder which came first. You know what I mean? At least for me, some really incredible, there's this wonderful documentary about these guys who work under the ice in Antarctica, and they're recording seals under the ice in Antarctica. And I swear, like the sounds, the frequencies that these seals, when they're above water, they sound really clumsy and they're awful, but they make the most incredible Moog like sounds underwater, these frequencies. It's like
Wow. So
pretty
it's a different
amazing.
thing underwater.
So it's like this, I working with synthesizers and doing modulations and stuff like that. It's interesting, kind of like I've been doing that. I think I do that more than most throat singers do. I kind of feature that aspect of it more than say like traditional Tuvans do, because I don't know, because I've been,
Exposed.
I've been reared on this kind of these kind
Yeah.
of frequencies, so I'm kind of attacking at it at a different angle, the Tuvan throat singing thing.
So you're bringing in an outside modulation factor that they haven't heard there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they've heard it, and there's some really wonderful. There's a style called Borbang Nadir, and it goes like really fast modulation. They do that, but as far as like really bringing that out into the foreground, it doesn't seem like a lot of them do. I could be wrong, but not in my experience. It's usually like their folk music, their traditional music. It's like folk songs, even the shamans that kind of keep it monotonous, kind of like their their uh their chants, their mantras. They're not going, they're not like exploding it like I do, like putting the listener into a state of trance or like an acid trip or something.
But that's probably why you're noted as the #1 guy outside of being a Tuvan.
Well, I think the reason that is because they can sense my appreciation for what they do, but they also appreciate that I've been able to found a way to express it my own way. I'm not just a cookie cutter,
Yeah,
like I'm not just learning their stuff and singing it back to them. I'm
right.
singing that stuff. I'm giving them like props enough that they understand that, okay, this guy respects the form, and then he goes off and does his thing, like this style that I use.
That
That
is
I
amazing.
utilize my uvula. That's not a part of the canon. Well, at least it wasn't until last year when I went to compete, and I won for this style, the Kagura style, the division in the international competition, and I utilized that. So now it's a part of like now afterwards, I hear these Mongolians and these Chinese and these Tuvan guys trying to emulate what I'm doing with the uvula, like my style, the Soriah style. And so that really blows me away that I've been accepted, not just for like singing their stuff, but kind of bringing in my own quality, my own style that I developed into the canon now. That blows me away.
We have a comment here from Eric. Hi, Eric. I believe you did some collab with Les Mord, and he's asking, did you perform on the track Grigori?
Yes, I did.
His signature sound. I don't think you can say, I think you could hear you now and go, boy, that's Soriah.
Yeah, right. I really loved how that turned out. It was great. Working with him was interesting because it was he's down in LA where he was at the time, and then I was here,
Still
and
is that.
so he gave me a very specific track to sing on. And when I got the track back, it was utterly different, like not the same song at all. But it worked out so well. And he's got this really good gift. He's got this fantastic gift of sorting out the good bits and placing them perfectly. That's a talent, actually. Instead of just like placing the whole track on it, you find the sweet bits and you put them right where they need to be. That's something that astounds me, that I'm really appreciative of. But yeah, I love that track. Once in a while, my friends will surprise me with it. There's this festival I go to, the Autonomous Mutant Festival. It's a free kind of anarchic festival happens except for this year in the Cascade Mountains somewhere, and I'll just be hanging out, and once in a while, like they'll play it, and I'm like, God, this, and I don't, out of context, I don't recognize it, and then I was just like, who's that throat singer? Like, like, oh, it's me. But yeah, I love that.
I think the first time I ever really heard sort of like throat singing put into kind of like modern music where I recognized, oh, that's throat singing, was the KLF album, Chill Out. Do you happen to know who performed that set of?
I don't. The KLF, no, I don't know. I know there was a guy who was going around doing that stuff. Actually, a good friend who passed, unfortunately, a couple of years back. His name was Gendos, and yeah, he. Let's see. Yeah, he was doing stuff early on. Early on for Tuvan music being in the West, like late '90s, early 2000s. Yeah, pretty amazing. K-Space. This guy K-Space. He had, I don't know, this is a while back. Anyway, so yeah, it's been used, and I was actually really blown away because usually, like Hunhurtu and those guys, they, Chigilchin and Alash, they gravitate towards different styles of Western music. But this guy Gendos, total shaman dude, he really gravitated towards like industrial specifically. And I thought that was really cool. I was blown away when I first heard it. It was very cool.
So do you see like a lot of people sort of being exposed to wanting to incorporate this now into sort of like hip forms of music, Goa trance or whatever it might be? I know you've been to Burning Man and done like all this sort of stuff. Is it something that you find that you're doing your performances Soriah, or are you integrating with other artists when you do that?
Oh, when I'm performing at like festivals and stuff?
Like a Burning Man and stuff like that, where you're actually...
Oh, well, if it's at Burning Man, well, I haven't been to Burning Man since, geez, 2006. But yeah, Burning Man for me was just, waking up, going around, finding stages for the night, preparing, and then at night going and doing however many stages I could. But yeah, that's definitely Soriah. I don't really do a whole lot of collaboration there. But as far as like the big festival stages that I've been doing for the last few years, I've been collaborating with this really great group, stellar musicians called Liberation Movement. And a friend of mine, Grant, who lives in the Sierra foothills now. Some pretty successful stuff. We've done a lot of they do like Lightning in the Bottle and Symbiosis and a lot of these like really big uh, you know uh, pot paid for festivals that
Right.
really good budgets and whatnot. And so yeah, like Symbiosis I love. You know yeah. So I basically just kind of I come in there and I'm kind of like the pinch hitter. I go there and I put like an accent on a particular song, and it's usually kind of rhythmic and kind of dancey, space tribal kind of stuff. Really love working with those guys. A lot of the recent collaborations I've been doing has just been studio stuff, especially since the quarantine. That's really where I've just shot off.
Didn't you just
Yeah.
say you just were working with Hans Rodelius?
Yeah, Rodelius. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty
Which
amazing.
is an insane honor. I just got the balls one day well, I met him, a friend of mine, Chandra. He was touring with Rodelius, 80 years old, guy on tour, making incredible music live.
Yeah,
Incredible, just
pioneer.
amazing. He came to Portland, and I was there, and he and I really just struck up a wonderful friendship. Just it's a rare thing. Uh, and so yeah, we've been kind of kept in contact, and it was always kind of in the back of my head. It was just like, wow, I'd really love to put something on his stuff and whatnot. So I just got the balls one day to ask, hey, do you want to do a collaboration, just like a remote collaboration? And he's like, well, I don't know, I'm kind of busy and whatnot. Well, we'll see. And so I was like, okay. Like 3 hours later, he sends me a track. And yeah, it's him playing pipe organ. And so I put something down on it, and we've been kind of like, well, we went back and forth, kind of refining just a little teeny bit. And yeah, it's the track is finished, and we're just looking for a way to kind of get it out to the world other than just Bandcamp. It would be what I would like to do is like to take all these uh, recordings that I've been doing since the quarantine and kind of put them in a collection and maybe make an album. That would be
I
great.
mean, Bandcamp seems to be right now the most logical because people don't have to leave their house to get it.
Right, of course.
And then they can,
I would like to put it in. I mean, I love the stuff that you got going on. I mean, the incredible vinyl stuff that you have. I mean, I've bought a lot of it myself.
That's thanks to Artifact Records. Actually, I got to thank them for all the support they give it, wanting to see vinyl and making it happen. And then nice packaging. It's like, it's like you'll have one of these labels that will come along and be like one of these labels like the old days where it's like, hey, no, we really just want to have the album have it look great, have it. It's like, okay, I like working with you. Those are the best people.
Yeah.
Bandcamp is also like a huge amount of their method as well. So I think we just have to approach these type of mediums with a different sort of like train of thought.
Yeah.
Do both. But, hey,
I just, with the level of like respect that I have for this collaboration with some of these really amazing artists. I mean, it should.
Oh, for sure.
I kind of want to make like a more grand gesture of like this happened, yeah. And having the actual like visceral kind of thing in your hand is, I don't know, helps that for me anyway.
I mean, you're not a stranger to collaborations. It seems that you've been collaborating with a ton of interesting people. I was interested in like you work with Blixa from Neubauten on something.
No, no, well, I did. I never worked with him. No, no, we did a show together once here in Portland. A friends of mine were putting on this big festival, the How to Destroy the Universe
Joint
Festival,
performance.
and yeah,
Yeah.
we did a few shows together, but I never actually got to sit down and say, hey, let's make some music together. But
Yeah.
I have, some other people of kind of like, you know
We've just been
in
working
that
with
in that realm,
Modest Mouse. You were just
Yeah,
down in
yeah,
LA.
Modest Mouse. I was just down in LA like a
Sorry
week
to
and a
miss you,
half
by the way.
ago. What's that?
I'm sorry I missed you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, quarantine,
And you were like,
quarantine. I mean, I was just a stone's throw over the Hollywood sign from your place. So
no, I think I got your message. You were like, I've got 3 hours. I'm here in LA.
yeah, I've got 3 hours. Yeah.
I got your message and there was only an hour left. So I figured, oh, you're going to have to go to the airport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's fine. It was fine. But yeah, that was an incredible thing. You know, that was a really fun time. I mean, it was so interesting because it was like out of a movie. It was kind of cliche, like out of a movie, like, the weird artist comes. There's no movie like that, but weird artist comes to Hollywood and then flying over the Hollywood sign. It's like, that's where I'm going. And it's right across the street from right on the other side of the 101 from the Capitol Records building. And walk in, there's the swimming pool, like any instrument you could possibly ever want. This place is like a secret location. They don't want anybody knowing where it is. And it's so rad. Oasis made a bunch of stuff there, the Who and all these things. And I'm there just kind of like, wow, okay, whatever you guys need, I'm just blown away by the experience. So, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I put a lot of stuff down and hopefully some of it sticks. That's my attitude about it. But they were really gracious and it was wonderful to work with them.
Is it true
Yeah.
you've got a couple of special numbers for us here today?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. Let me pull them up. These are some pieces that I've been, my quarantine pieces that have just kind of come out. They've just kind of popped out. And like, usually something will happen, I'll hear something and then I have to have it. And then I put it down and then I start building things out of it. Let's see, here we go. Hold on just a sec. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Don't forget your effects.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I won't be singing on this one. And these are just, a couple of, you want me to do let's
do the
hold
one
off for that one.
Do the one we sound checked if you can.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the one I'm going to be performing with. So let me do that. You want to do that now?
Yeah, let's try that. That is mind-boggling. I think people need to be mind-boggled at two.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Hold on just a sec. Okay. Okay, this is here, let me take this off. This is a piece I wrote for this interview specifically. Neowise after the comet, timely thing. Okay.
Yeah. So nice. Wow. That was magical.
Oh, cool. Oh, thank you. Thank
You
you very
guys like
much.
that out there? I mean, that was pretty amazing. Man, the just I don't know, man. I want to see you live again. I remember the last time I saw you live was here in town. There was some guy. He was like talking behind me, and he was
Yeah.
talking so loud that I actually was the one very rare time where I turned around and said, "Man, can you just like move somewhere else?"
Yeah.
Because I just love listening to your
Yeah,
stuff.
I love playing at that place, even though it's a goth club. You know,
You're the only reason that I would go there too.
yeah. But I love the stage there. It's so pretty, and
Beautiful
the
venue.
people who are working the stage are actually really good. And that beautiful Spanish tile fountain right in the middle, it's just so gorgeous.
You
I
guys
love playing
sound
there.
great there too. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. And it's nice that it's kind of outside a little bit. Yeah, and it's just
so
right in Hollywood, right in the middle of everything. So yeah, I
I
love
say
that
you
place.
guys, you perform with a regular bunch of guys for a while. Is it Ashkelon and a bunch of
Yeah, Ashkelon Sane, I collaborated with for many years, from what was it, 2008 to 2013 or so. Yeah.
who's with you now?
Just me,
Just you
and
now.
yeah. It's just uh, well, especially now, I can't really
Oh,
do
of course,
anything
yeah.
with anybody. I'm just doing these, these long distance collaborations, and some stage stuff, like with the guys I was telling you, the group,
Right.
uh, Liberation Movement. Also, I've been doing a lot of recording, and once in a while I'll go out on the road with Thor and friends. Some of the stuff that they've put my vocals on is just really, really beautiful. If you check me
That's
out on Spotify, that's like my most popular song, Soriah. The most popular song is actually with Thor and friends. Fantastic, wonderful feel to
is
them.
Thor and Friends a Swans related thing again?
Yeah. Thor Harris from Swans. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm a little-
He invited me on tour a couple of years ago, and I loved being with a group of people. They were just so
yeah.
great, and it's a wonderful free spirit. He's just, he initially, kind of a similar thing with you. He came to town. Somebody introduced him, and I sang for him. He's like, "Oh, why don't you just come up on stage tonight?"
Yeah, exactly.
And and then he's like, "Oh, we have to have you on the album." And then so it just kind of went from there. And yeah. I love Thor. Thor is one of my favorite people, for sure.
It's funny because in Vancouver, when I was growing up, there was a band called Thor there, and then
Oh yeah, I know Thor you're talking about.
the guy that would blow up a hot water bottle was his big shtick. Anybody was like just like muscles like this,
Yeah, it was like He-Man.
white hair. Yeah, it was like a He-Man of the universe, dude.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny because some people still they're like, Thor, like you're playing with Thor. Wow, that's really cool. Like Soriah and Thor, that would be amazing. But not that Thor.
Also work with Norman from the Swans. Is that on another project?
Yeah. He and I have we've done again another track that we the long distance track. Really wonderful. His sensibility of ambient guitar work is just gorgeous, just really gorgeous. Right up there with Lustmore too, if you ask me.
What is that?
In a
name?
different realm, not so
that?
dark and evil. What?
One with Norman. What's that?
What's that?
What's the band name? The one you're working on with Norman?
Oh no, it's just no band. It's just
No band.
it's just we're just having fun. We're
Okay.
just that's what I do. I reach out to people and say, hey, you want some throat singing on this? What he was on tour with Thor and friends when I was on tour, and so that's how we got to meet. And he's like, I'd really love if you sing on something. I'm like, yeah, I'm totally down. So yeah, a bit of a slut that way. So, but I just happened to be collaborating with some really amazing people, like my heroes, so that works.
I was also lucky enough to get some samples from you that you sent me for my album, so I thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
Can't wait to. When is that coming out?
I kept you in mystery. I'll be finished it probably by August 7th, and then we'll see from there when it comes out.
Cool. Yeah, I can't wait to hear.
Regular,
but
amount.
I'm a little reticent because God, I feel like I'm so much better of a singer now than I was. God, when I sent you those guys, that was like 2010.
Yeah, true,
like that.
True. Well, I mean, it's a small section, but I always have you on my mind. I think there's a future for what's coming, and I think like the Subconscious Electronic Orchestra would like to see you more involved.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'd be down with that. I'd be down with that for sure.
I mean, I have to say, when we were on tour, it was like a couple tours ago with Skinny Puppy. We were backstage in Portland, and you started singing a Michael McDonald.
Yeah, I do a pretty decent Michael McDonald. Yeah.
Hell of a good Michael McDonald.
It's the same place, you're sitting on the vast steppe in Central Asia, and you're mimicking the sound of the waters running past, and the same thing with Michael McDonald. Yeah. No, it was.
Oh, I mean, the funny thing was that it was really good, and
that was a beautiful moment.
Yeah,
both you and Ogre were like doing some kind of jig, and we were just all of us backstage were just enveloped in this moment of just pure silliness. And yeah.
I mean, we should say that, is it true that you're also like known as like a karaoke extreme winner? And
yeah.
what is your
I'm
favorite?
an avid karaoke singer.
What's your favorite
Yeah,
karaoke?
I've won money.
No, I've heard it. I've heard your songs. Michael McDonald is pitched like just perfect. So I mean, that covers the bases. But what do you have a favorite band you like to sing when you go karaoke?
Prince, Bowie,
Bowie,
Screaming Jay Hawkins.
Do you have a Bowie cover band?
Oh, yes. Well, we'll see how long it takes, but yeah, we actually we did have me and well, this guy Jason, he had me along with his group. It certainly wasn't my endeavor, but he had me along singing they would learn entire albums. Like the first concert we did Black Star in its entirety.
Oh wow.
Amazing, incredible, amazing stuff. But we did Man Who Sold the World, Low, Ziggy, like all the stuff. And so we'd have a revolving cast of lead singers. I did the Ziggy album and a bunch of other things. I just love that. Yeah, I love doing that.
Can I find that online anywhere?
Oh yeah. Oh.
He doesn't want to give it.
What was it? Mask Media, MASK Media on YouTube. But there's a pretty decent one of Lady Stardust. That was fun. A number of really good ones. But I love doing that kind of thing, like on the off season. Like I also have a Fields of the Nephilim tribute band, where I do a pretty decent Carl McCoy. But
and a Cure cover band too. Is that true?
Oh, I played bass. I played the part of Simon Gallup for a short time in Portland's tribute thing. But the tribute bands are really they're really big here in Portland and in Seattle in the Northwest, because especially in Portland, because none of these bands are going to ever come. So we just make it ourselves.
That's
it's actually really fun to do if you're a musician, to really learn to like the minute detail every single part of this music that you were reared on and deeply love. So yeah, it's fun, and with the Nephilim thing, I was just hoping that it would get enough traction that those guys might even hear about it and maybe even consider coming here. It's all about trying to get them to the United States, but yeah, we'll see if that happens.
Portland seems to have like a lot of like indie culture stuff going on and supporting. You've got like labels there. You've got, just like it's kind of like the base of cool around musical. Think about a cooler place in America, really. Right now it's kind of like.
Yeah. There's a lot of wonderful stuff. But when I first moved here in the 90s from Oakland, it was full blast. Like anything you could possibly ever want to do, no matter how freaky or sick, twisted, whatever, there was a venue for it here. It's not so much these days. It's become more curated. But that's good and bad. I other than just playing live shows, I'm not too involved in I guess I'm not involved in the music scene maybe as much as I should here. Just because I'm finding myself in other, being brought to other places and whatnot. But and also maybe something about like, okay, well, I don't want to have like more than 4 performances, in Portland a year. People get tired of it.
That's what happens. It's like I barely perform.
Keep them starving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have, as far as like being upcoming and active, you have an August 22nd online workshop coming up.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I got together with this studio called Strawberry Hill Music, and these guys work with Konami and a bunch of video game makers. Actually, recently I went down there and I put some vocals on uh, uh, a track that was composed by Yasunori Nishiki, who does like a lot of the really amazing video soundtrack stuff for a new video game that's going to be coming out. I don't know when exactly, but yeah. So anyway, through that, these guys wanted me to do a workshop for like voice actors, but that's not to say that anybody can't come in and be a part of this. So if you're anybody who's listening, if you're interested no matter if you have any singing experience or not, in fact, a lot of the time it's better if you don't have any singing experience, because I'm going to be teaching you outside of the box. Some people who have like studied voice for many years, I'm going to be asking you to do things that you've always been told not to do. But I can attest that it doesn't ruin your voice, and you can sing it for years and years and years, and still maintain a good voice. Even if you're a karaoke singer, it's not going to mess up your voice.
How do we find that? Is there?
Oh shoot! I gave you the link.
I can post it on the chat.
Yeah, yeah. Put it. Yeah, yeah. Just like an event page for it. But yeah, that's happening August 22nd. And yeah, going to be a 3-hour workshop, and I'm going to be getting very, very deep. There's going to be much more in-depth information than I would normally have, say, like if I was doing like a regular workshop. So yeah. If you want to find out, we're going to talk about, the animus context, where it comes from, how, the mechanics of overtone singing, theory and stuff like that, which is all really wonderful information, even if you're just a listener. It's really fun to know. Throat singing has really opened my whole just being able to kind of absorb and recognize different overtones here and there and frequencies and whatnot, and kind of tuning in and whatnot. It's been it's been a really amazing pathway. And actually, I have to say, don't want to get too crazy here, but listening to like deep hound trauma hounds and stuff, deep down trauma hounds, sorry, like all the different layers really trained my ear to hear the different layers of different things that are going on. And so I like so many of those tracks have just, you can take it as a whole, and it just seems really confusing. If you sit down and listen to it, you can hear the space in between each element, and all of a sudden it becomes this 3-dimensional experience. And yeah, that was a big influence on me. Yeah, those early days listening to your music. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I see that organ back there. Is that a harmonium?
Yeah, it's a harmonium, just a pump organ.
But that's kind of like I have one of those too, and so that's theoretically a form of singing. It's tuned wood tubes that are being air pushed through them with your feet.
That's right. Yeah, you're pushing air through these brass reeds that are, the amount of air goes and vibrates the reeds, and then it gets pushed into different things behind the scenes, different resonating chambers and whatnot. It's just very similar to a pipe organ, except it's just, you don't plug it in.
Have you ever taken one apart? I have, and
yes, yeah, I have.
Incredible to think like, okay, so mine's from like 1880.
Yeah,
it's still together pretty well, but now actually I have to repair it again. The foot bags, where your
The bellows have got an air
bellows
leaks.
come loose. Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but it's man, when you pull those things and turn it over and open up the back, how it's just complete. Most of it's like 99% wood. It's
Yeah.
just like everything's wood. It's so
Ingenious.
beautiful.
Ingenious how they have a little vibrato back there.
Yeah.
They call it one of the stops that you pull out, the Angelica voice. It's just a
Yeah.
little flap, just a little
Spinning
blade that
thing.
spins in the back, creating a little it's like
No,
it's amazing.
Like you must have one of those in the back of your throat too. Modulation. But
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of your first
It's
albums was
the
great.
voice is incredible. Our bodies are come equipped with incredible things, and if you are able to isolate one sound, you can really play with that. There's no end to what is available. It's so crazy, so crazy. Yeah, just
Wasn't the
takes a little
first,
bit of sitting and
one of
listening.
your first albums also based on an organ as well?
It was actually, yeah, my first album was a live album, live performance that I did at a church just down the street from my house, the old church. They have an old 1888 Hook and Hastings pipe organ that's still there. And
Nice.
it's still in really wonderful working order, working condition. Yeah, yeah. I
Have the
was
bellows
thinking
all over
about
the
this.
church?
What's up?
Did that have the pipes going all over the church that you could feel?
No, it was just the one wall, the one
Okay.
wall of it. It's not like one of those huge things. This is like an old small church, not too big, but yeah, yeah. But yes, you can. There's the wooden facade. So there's the key, there's the control station there with all the keys and the stops and everything. And onto either side, there's a wood a facade with a little hidden door, a little secret chamber that you can walk up into the
Nice.
pipes. Some of them, like the lowest pipes, are actually made of wood, but they're very fat and wide to make a real like sub bass frequencies. It's incredible. It's incredible. You just press a lever and then the generator starts blowing air, and it's this wonderful vintage experience. It's really cool. But yeah, I was able to spend a lot of time practicing on this organ before. And so I came up with a lot of dissonance. No one's played the pipe organ like I did. I mean, I went for as much dissonance as possible, like hitting, clusters of chromatic notes on the foot pedals, just like spreading my feet wide to kind of get as much and to kind of get to make the room shake. Like it's similar to like when you're driving in a car and somebody rolls down the back window, like kind of similar to doing that,
Right,
but
right,
like
yeah.
in the whole church. I love effects like that. I love singing on top of stuff like that, and yeah, it can be really expressive.
Speaking of effects, what type of gear do you like to use to capture your
Well,
sound?
I because of what I was doing live, basically lately I've been doing just loops. I've got my big drum here. This is my King Gay, but I'll make a loop with this. I've got this TC Helicon Voice Live 3 Extreme. It's cheesy, but it works. It works for what I need to do.
Is that a looper, a multi-track looper?
It's it's a looper and a vocal processor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Here, let's see.
Yeah.
There it is. Upside down. But
I buy one of those things.
Yeah, it's cool. There's a couple of things that I wish it did. Like some other loopers, they have like an automatic fade out, but I had to buy an expression pedal for that, and that's kind of taking care of that, which is kind of cool. So I basically just create my own beds of loops, and then I sing on top of them. That's what I've been doing live for the last couple of years. It's worked out pretty well. I did that. I opened for 2 Peter Murphy residencies in San Francisco and New York, and I was actually going to be opening for Bauhaus in Mexico City in April, and then it got postponed to August, which is going to get postponed to somewhere else soon. But
Yeah.
I'm stoked it's going to happen. I'm just stoked to be asked. But yeah. But that's worked out fine for me, you know, of just creating different spaces and unfolding throat singing in different ways to kind of like express different things, and you know, a little narrative going throughout the set and whatnot, and yeah, and as well as just, you know, doing some a cappella stuff, which is, you know, ultimately, you know, all this other stuff is just window dressing for the voice, you know.
But
But what's that?
you like to record using Logic?
Yes, well, that's what came with my laptop. So
Really? Wow.
yeah.
I forgot Apple
So
Logic.
I was um you know, initially I was doing Cubase, and then I did the Avid stuff, and then my laptop was stolen, and then when I had to reboot, I just decided there was a great deal on Logic if you bought Logic and the Final Cut as a bundle. It was really cheap, so that's what I did. It's actually really good. I've really melded in with the with how it works. You know, it's become a little bit more part of me the last couple of months, and so yeah.
Are you just recording audio, or do you work with MIDI and external synthesizers as well?
No, all just audio inputs, except for lately I've been using these really fantastic, super cool synth apps.
Yeah, you thank God you
Yeah,
sent me that
synth
one last
one.
night. Holy shit.
Yeah. This yeah, the one I told you about, the spacecraft.
Spacecraft.
It's insane. It's wonderful. Actually, the kind of uh, glitched out vocals that you heard on this track that I just did live, that was, I mean, that whole piece was based on what I did with that app with Spacecraft, and I was like, yeah.
Can't really probably hear it, but
No.
it blew me away from the textural stuff that you can quickly get.
Yeah. Really amazing.
And then
Really great. So I've been recently, it's only been recently that I've been using these kind of synths. I was working with a lot of synths back when I was collaborating with Ashkelon, but yeah, when I just kind of when that ended, I just started using my you know, whatever I had with me, and so I would just create drones with my voice. And so yeah, just do a lot of
I
vocal
love
stuff,
stuff like that.
beds and stuff like that. But I really like some of these synth things, and I'm a novice at it, but I really I can spend all day working on these things. So
Yeah, well, that's definitely a fun app, and if all synths were as fun as that, man, we never put
yeah.
never put it.
Also, Synth One is totally free source. You can even go into the, you know, you can go in and mess with the code if you wanted to. It's just this wonderful effort done by these really benevolent, wonderful programmers. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that, using that on a lot of my new stuff. Or my, you know, I just hear something and I'm like, oh my God, I kind of have to use that. And you know, I try to incorporate, I incorporate that with, you know, voice, you know, skin, bone, that kind of stuff, you know, incorporating the caveman with the with the cyberpunk, you know what I mean? The tribal and cyberpunk. That's kind of what I do.
And then something triggers something inside you, and you got the costume down too. It'll all go with it. It'll be like, that's part of the song.
I've always thought that the stage is a gift. It's a temple, you know, and it's a place of where you can really pull your full energy into expressing in your expression, you know. And you know, a Skinny Puppy, you know that as well. It's just like, it really brings the audience it transports the audience to a place, you know. And it really says it helps me too. If I'm in this a different place wearing my my regalia. There's a lot of intense regalia that I've used over the years. It helps remind me that, you know, my goal is to kind of transport people to this kind of this simultaneous divine dimension where everything is like very resonant. Not that it's not here, but you know, it's basically this transportive quality that I'm looking for, and you know, to suspend disbelief, to really shine like a light onto kind of a divinity in each of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that's about. Also, yeah, I like watching performances of where people give it their all. Well, they don't just go on stage with their slippers and their shorts and t-shirts and stuff like that. Well, I mean that's good for a certain type of music, but certainly not what I do.
No,
You know.
but then again, when you experience what you do, it's like you don't leave with any questions. It's like
Yeah.
you're just amazed at what you just witnessed, and I think that's, you know, a pretty amazing talent, the way you brought all those influences together into a cohesive musical language that people can relate to.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting the word out. That's why I'm here today, trying to get the word out.
Yeah. I really appreciate it. I love it. I love
Soriah.
it. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Do you have another song?
Looking for labels and different ways to kind of plug my music into, you know, a larger slice of humanity. So
I I think you know, word of mouth and everything's important these days, especially since we're all at home. Um,
yeah.
it's just people talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Soriah, Soriah.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You got another song for us, or what? You or are you?
I do. I do. Let's see. Let's see. Um, here's oops. Okay, here we go. This is one I did called Response. This is an example of like a field recording. I find myself in a place of like amazing sound, and then I grab it, like I record it on my phone, and then I make a whole piece out of it. This one started out as a just a, you know, I was waiting in a parking lot, and I heard the water sprinkling system hit some poles. Just the most mundane, random thing, but it really spoke to me. So anyway, I recorded it and I built a whole piece around it, and it turned into something really crazy and neat. So I'll put about a minute of this into it. So that was just a little Other
Beautiful,
thing.
man. I could get lost in that sound all day. Can I just have you on one of those like Eno box loops?
Yeah.
You ever see one of those that just plays loops all day?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that turned into this really wonderfully like dark hypnotic kind of David Lynchian kind of place that yeah. You
I'm
can
kind
see
of
that there's it's called Response. And interesting. I was listening. I was on my Facebook feed, and there's this really fantastic throat singer out of um, Norway, I think. And he just, unfortunately, I can't remember his name, but anyway, he just threw me. I was just like, oh my God, it's incredible. Doing this beat shamanic kind of stuff with it. And I was like, wow. And I was like, well, it triggered me to make this piece. It was just kind of like very washed out, haunting, beautiful, like drawn out and hypnotic piece, kind of in a way, in a response to that really like intense driving kind of like and so that's why I call it Response. But yeah, it's interesting. I usually don't do that. My other people's work don't usually doesn't affect me, but I was just like, man, I was really blown away by this guy's amazing throat singing and stuff. And I was like, wow, well, what are you going to do today? So I'm like, yeah,
Did you get a chance to
let's put this
compare
together.
notes or speak?
What's that?
Did you get a chance to compare notes on your talents, or were you able to discuss?
I haven't met him yet. I haven't
Oh,
met
wow.
him yet. He's out there, but yeah, very cool, amazing stuff.
Text me the name and I'll look into it as well.
Yeah. I'll find out who it was.
And
But yeah. But yeah. It's
so, are people going to learn how to Tuvan sing on August 22nd, or are you going to
yeah.
teach?
That's they're gonna come out. They're gonna come away with a good foundation, at least. At the very least, they're going to come away with knowing something and to be able to produce overtones. That I can guarantee.
Wow, I got to tune in for sure.
Singing. Be doing overtone singing now to the level of all these different styles. Probably not. What we're going to be doing is concentrating on one particular style. This is actually going to be the first in a series of three workshops where we're eventually going to be hitting on the three main sounds of Tuvan throat singing. Kagara and Sugut. So yeah, so that I've been teaching for about 15 years, and I always have pretty good success as far as like spending when people come to me either on one-on-one lessons or workshops. Generally, everybody gets leaves with something, leaves with at least leaves with a tool they can do to kind of do some inside work,
right?
Very insular kind of reaching into the inner space to find some of these sounds, these frequencies. So
what drew you to actually want to go to the actual source of Tuvan again? Actually,
I started doing Soriah in '98 or thereabouts, and then in 2005, a friend of mine included me into a workshop that was taught by actual Tuvans, and so I studied with them in 2005 and 2006, and then in 2007 they invited me to go to the first international throat singing workshop in Tuva, and that was the first time I went there. And
how did that impact you going to Tuva for the first time?
It was crazy. It was
different
amazing
culture.
thing. I was on the other side of the planet, and in a very foreign, remote place. That when I was there, I was probably within the first 1,000 Westerners that had been there in over a century.
Wow, man.
Like, yeah, it's it was pretty amazing, pretty amazing. Anyway, I've been there 14 times since, and to watch how it's evolved and progressed in a lot of ways, it's been a true pleasure. But yeah, that it affected me being there, uh, eating what they eat, drinking what they drink, going to the places, going to these beautiful, incredibly just like pure natural spaces that haven't been touched. The only roads are the regular tracks that are made by Jeeps, and no road signs.
Nice. Nice.
If you're going to visit somebody out on the steppe, you have to know how to get there.
So
You have to know how to get there. What?
do you find many people over there that are sort of the Amonist sort of
Oh
think,
yeah, it's all
think,
about it.
is that
Yeah,
where
yeah.
is there a basis of
Well, the animist belief resides in their shamanism, and 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 most people are it. Tuva is really interesting. That has a wonderful marriage of shamanism and Tibetan Buddhism. One could say that the Tibetan Buddhism actually sprung from the local shamanism there, and I think throat singing kind of came with it. Like the local people, the Tuvans, were throat singing, and then you know the the lamas, they started to, they began the Tibetan Buddhism long time ago, but they've kind of incorporated that into the throat singing into their the lamas meditations, the mantras and whatnot. But yeah, everything sprouts from nature there. Everything sprouts from nature. Everything. They have a great reverence for it,
yeah.
and yeah.
I've always seen like Buto as sort of like a pure sort of Japanese sort of art expressionist form, but is that something that spreads into, say, Tibetan culture? Is there any
Well,
art form that you detect over there that also encompasses the body performance?
well, there are a lot of dancers, and they get, they to talk about animation. They get animated with spirits. When you're talking, especially when you're talking about the the Tibetan Buddhists, they'll dress in like dragons or spirit head costumes and stuff, and they do a lot of dance and stuff. And of course, the shamans, they dance into a state of gnosis, where they have their drum boom 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 boom, and just that kind of like repetitive thing, and with the mantras, and they dance around, they dance until they find a space of ecstasy, and then that's when things happen. You kind of it's kind of a doorway into it by kind of utilizing the body, of making, like, fatiguing the body into a state of gnosis, a state of trance, you know that would be, I mean, I wouldn't say that would be just Japanese thing. I think that happens everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I meant
But
more so the actual art form and performance that Buto is known for. With the
yeah,
suspension on
yeah,
ropes and sort of
it's
stillness and the also the
right. No, I wouldn't say that. That's yeah. They're very the Tuvan people very conservative. They're very
is
conservative. Um, they don't like talking about death.
really
Um, they 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 turn away from it at any, at all costs. Um, uh, which I always find interesting, because it's so prevalent there. Because I mean, it's you know uh, it's a harsh life, especially in the wintertime.
yeah, I can
You
imagine.
know, it gets to 50 below there. If you
Yeah,
find yourself locked out of your house, it could be fatal. You know.
yeah, absolutely. Is the Tuban throat singing scene as spiritual over there?
I would say everybody has that's just where they live. They don't think of it as overtly spiritual. They come to the West and they perform, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's like you're a shaman," and they're like, "We're just singing our folk music." But to Western ears, it's the what they're not putting their finger on is the transmutation of the natural experience, that transportive quality that brings the listener into this place. So it seems like magic. It seems like, you know, and maybe, you know, who am I to say, you know, it is or it isn't. If somebody feels that transitional, that 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 spirit kind of animate them when they listen to this, or when they're hearing a voice of their ancient selves speak to them through listening to these people who are very much in touch with their ancestors, you know, it really does stuff. It really does have a very visceral experience for Western ears, for Western audiences, because they're like, okay, these people, like, you know, but they don't think of themselves that way. They'll say, no, I'm not a shaman. Shaman is the guy who beats the drum and and dances around and around a fire and makes offerings all the time and sees people. It's a job, actually. There, it's a, you know, you go see the shaman to talk about your personal problems,
Oh, wow.
and you know, they give you things to kind of, you know, help you on your way or whatnot, or you can you can go and you can curse somebody, or you can buy, you know, hire one to protect you from a shaman that's cursing you. And yeah, it's a job. It's a job there. So you know, as far as like what we think of shamans as are people who touch the beyond, who touch the spirit world. They walk there and they walk here simultaneously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so a lot of Tuvans are kind of like, oh, no, I'm not that. I'm not that. Even though to a Westerner, they totally are, you know.
Right. Have you introduced your costumes and your performance to the Tuvans?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
What do they
they're
think about
taken
that?
aback by it. They're, you know, I get mixed reviews with it. The artists really love it. And the people really like it too. Just some people who are like more westernized, they are like, eh. What they think is like, I'm coming here and making it seem weird. Like I'm like doing this, I'm dressing up because this is a weird form and I'm making it weird.
Right.
But the thing is that it's not weird for me. It's like my pure expression, you know.
Yeah.
I gravitate towards this kind of this kind of expression. That's what I like. That's what I like to see. You know, that's my heart, you know. And so a lot of people are a little, you know, taken aback, and this is something they're not used to, you know. It's funny because, like, you know, I'll they'll invite me to a festival. Well, like, I want to go to Soriah, and then the organizer will be like, yeah, just do a traditional costume. It's funny because the traditional costume is really not so different than my costume,
Yeah.
but it's their traditional costume. And if I come in my costume, it's just going to be weird. But well, regalia, that's how I like to say it. It's a regalia, not so much of a costume. But yeah, that I think when people understand that it's not me, like, it's not a way for me to be weird or make a statement about Tuvan throat singing, that it's actually me. It's like my the way that I can uh, purely give my pure essence to what I'm doing. Then they're like, okay, yeah, this guy's legit. So they've, you know, but you know, when I go and I do these the throat singing competitions and whatnot, I'll don my Tuvan gear. But if they come and ask me to perform a Soriah, I'm definitely,
Get it.
I've got my full on, because you know that people there don't get to experience that
I
as
can
much,
imagine.
you know, like we do here. Well, I mean, not even here even, but
Wow.
you know,
Yeah.
somebody young could take that and they can take it and make it their own. That's amazing. You know,
That's
Sun
what
Ra came
you
to
do.
Tuva back in the 90s and the 2000s, and they made an incredible mark on Tuvan culture. All of a sudden, you have all these brass bands coming out and doing Tommy Gunn and stuff like that. But you know, this is the kind of thing that they would never experience in Central Asia. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I guess everything that leaks in there has some sort of end effect.
Yeah, yeah, you know, and I think, and you know, I think it's a good thing, you know. Yeah, it's a wonderful place too. I miss it. I'm hoping. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it this year.
I don't think anyone's going to make it anywhere this year. That's my prediction.
Yeah,
I mean, I've heard rumors about like not even next year, but like God, I'll keep fingers crossed on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just staying in all the time there. I mean, what are you? You regularly drive cab, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a cab driver. I've gone back a couple of shifts a week, but one thing that quarantine really did was it showed me how much I worked, and it was way too much. Whenever I was in Portland, I was never home. I was always working to try to get money to go and fly someplace to do a performance here and there or whatever. So it was actually really nice to be arrested and kind of, you know, quarantined for a bit. I didn't work for 2 months or over 2 months.
Yeah.
And so yeah. But I've just you know, I've really come to appreciate, you know, where I've landed. You know, it's pretty amazing, beautiful place, and you know, I'm not in need for much, you know.
Let's just hope that Portland doesn't get carried away by some black van. It's pretty crazy stuff going on there.
The response to that has been so incredibly uplifting to me. Like, people are rad. I don't know if you've seen some of these, the footage of this woman who came down and she just confronted this line of federal troops. These are troops. They're soldiers. They're in camo. They're in helmets. They might as well be in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah.
She just confronts them completely naked.
Yeah.
Completely naked, completely bare, and just like, man, that was so much courage and so powerful. And like, that's how we face this. They had no clue what to do. They were
it was almost like
it short-circuited these guys.
Got a weapon bigger than ours. It's called what?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, she's not playing their game. She's not playing their arms race. You know, wow. That was an amazing moment in Portland history. I think that happened last night. I don't want to overstate it too much, but that really spoke to me. I was like, man, this woman is like, that's magic right there. That is like, you talk about goddess magic. Man, I've been so energized by her. It's just incredible. And there's tons of people. Maybe everybody will just come to the protests naked, except for wearing masks. And
exactly.
But this one woman. So you know, people can be really amazing and courageous and be able to tell these guys that what they're doing is wrong. You know, it's wrong. It's inhumane. They're losing a part of their humanity by doing this. And you know, for
Let's see what happens tonight. Yeah.
Spraying, you know, tagging the courthouse. Is that what you're afraid of? You know, that's what's going to trigger you off. You know, like, these people have so little to set them off. You know, the thin skins. People need to have thicker skins. Yeah. Anyway,
I am super happy to hear that you're staying inspired through this and creating and doing everything. And it's been an absolute pleasure today to chat with you.
Mine as well.
I want to thank you for joining us here and exposing us to your talent and your unique philosophies. it's always a pleasure to speak with such inspiring individuals as yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Likewise. Likewise.
Yeah.
Well, we all know that. That's why we're all here.
I see we're at an hour and 40 minutes, so I should probably check out. But
All right.
thank you so much. And as again, everybody on Patreon has been so supportive here on the side. They've been just making comments. I'd like to thank all you guys, Tony, Devin, Eric.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Everybody. Check out Soriah's Bandcamp page. Where do we find you on Bandcamp? Soriah/Bandcamp?
Yeah, I
Bandcamp
think
/
so.
Soriah?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You'll find me there. Yeah, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, uh, um, Spotify, you know, a few things are up there as well.
Take a
So
look
yeah.
out. And we'll be anxiously awaiting the next product that comes out as a result of your isolation.
Right. Well, this piece that I wrote for this interview today should be probably, I would imagine, within a week. It's going to be up on Bandcamp.
Oh, cool.
And Spotify and stuff like that.
I will let people know when that is available, and
yeah,
and keep people posted.
Yeah.
But once again, my friend, thank you so much again for joining. You are the best.
Yep.
I want to hear you sing again. I don't care what song it is, but soon. can't be soon enough. You know, come on.
Anytime.
Over. I need to see you. Give you a hug.
Yeah. Yeah. We're due for another visit.
We are.
Another, maybe a walk on Griffith Park. That would be fun.
You know, big blessings to you, sir.
You and your family as well.
All right.
Okay.
Till next time.